The topic for our video project is hate. We've decided that since it's such a broad topic, we're going to divide it into 5 subtopics that we believe truly encompass the meaning of hate. Those 5 topics are same-sex marriage, gender equality, racial equality, high school stereotypes, and the handicapped.
Well, I think what really motivates hate is when people are jealous of something, like if you have something that someone else doesn't have, or like if you have a nicer car, it usually generates kind of hate sometimes because of jealousy. And because of that, I think that it won't really end. I think hate will continue just because people will always be jealous of each other. I think it's just part of human nature.
The struggle for homosexuals to receive the rights to marry and to receive equality has become a very big topic not only in the Catholic Church, but also the rest of the world. Some believe that these people are incapable of love and should not marry. They take it so far as to say that they're not really human. Anti-homosexuals reduce these people to nothing more than their sexuality and make it that person's only trait. They disregard that person's family, friends, job, aspirations, personality, and many other wonderful qualities that person might have. Anti-homosexuals believe that they have a right to judge how another person lives their life and dictate who that person can and cannot love. The Bible tells us to treat others the way that you would like to be treated. Not one human being that I know would like to be constantly degraded and attacked for something that is out of their control. There is no personal gain to putting someone else down. We are all part of God's creation. We should love each other just as God loves us. The past couple of years have come with many advancements for the rights of homosexuals. President Obama has endorsed same-sex marriage, and many states have now legalized or are in the process of legalizing it. Also, our current Pope, Pope Francis, said, "Who am I to judge them?" The real struggle is going to be changing people's minds, showing them the real picture. Many are too stuck in their own ways to realize how hurtful and incorrect their point of view on this issue is. Once more people start to understand how wonderful these people are and how much they are just like anyone else, real change will come. Until then, it is our duty as God's children to treat these people as our brothers and sisters and give them all the love and support they need.
I believe that it's okay to marry the same sex because I believe that Jesus loved everyone, so why not have the same sex love each other instead of separating them. Just let them be together without judging them. They love each other, so just leave them alone.
In a world that originally had one man and one woman, how could one rise above the other? Each gender has so much potential, yet each one is oppressed for different reasons. Even in a modern world, women still have to fight to receive equal pay and respect, and conditions are even worse in parts of the Middle East, where women are not even allowed to receive an education. They are forced to cover all exposed skin and must cower in fear from the men. However, women throughout history have fought for their rights. Recently, a 16-year-old girl from Pakistan named Malala stood up for her right to education. She boarded a school bus and the Taliban shot her in the head and went on to kill her friends who supported her. The story got national attention. People were appalled by such a disgusting act against a person wanting a change in her world. After miraculously recovering, Malala delivered a moving speech at the United Nations about the importance of education for everyone. Instead of showing anger to the Taliban, she tells how the experience made her stronger and encouraged her to carry out her mission. She expresses a deep devotion to God and says how He has helped her more than anyone.
When did you realize the Taliban had made you a target?
When in 2012, I was with my father and someone came and she told us that, have you seen on Google that if you search your name and the Taliban have threatened you? And I just could not believe it. I said, no, it's not true. And even after the threat, when we saw it, I was not worried about myself that much. I was worried about my father, because we thought that the Taliban are not that much cruel that they would kill a child, because I was 14 at that time. But then later on, I used to I started thinking about that, and I used to think that the Talib would come and he would just kill me. But then I said, if he comes, what would you do, Malala? Then I would reply myself that, Malala, just take a shoe and hit him. But then I said, if you hit a Talib with your shoe, then there would be no difference between you and that Talib. You must not treat others that much with cruelty and that much harshly. You must fight others, but through peace and through dialogue and through education. Then I said, I'll tell him how important education is, and that I even want education for your children as well. And I'll tell him, that's what I want to tell you. Now do what you want.
I think it's really unfair, because if I'm doing the same amount of work and the same quality work as a man, why should I be getting paid less? I think that it should be equal all across the board. I think it's because men in the past generations feel that they are superior to women because women were like the homemakers. But now that women are in the workforce, I think that they're more equal to men.
Hospedeira, arranje-me outro lugar.
Minha senhora, a classe económica está lotada.
Desculpe, eu não vou viajar ao lado de um negro. Faça qualquer coisa.
Eu vou falar com o comandante. O comandante manda dizer que conseguimos arranjar lugar na primeira classe. E pede imensas desculpas. Realmente é inconcebível um passageiro viajar ao lado de uma pessoa tão desprezível. O senhor acompanhe, por favor?
If we are all created in God's image, why should skin color determine our course in life? When we look at someone, we should see the good and potential in them. However, it has taken humanity an extremely long time to learn this valuable lesson. Throughout the civil rights movement, African Americans fought for equal rights and wanted to live in a world where they would not face discrimination. Following in inspirational actions from people like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks, African Americans stood up in peaceful union for what they believed in. However, racial equality goes beyond the civil rights movement. Every race is equal and we have a common creator, so we should not discriminate based on our physical appearances.
This map is going to be your guide to North Shore. Now, where you sit in the cafeteria is crucial because you got everybody there. You got your freshmen, ROTC guys, preps, JV jocks, Asian nerds, cool Asians, varsity jocks, unfriendly black hotties, girls who eat their feelings, girls who don't eat anything, desperate wannabes, burnouts, sexually active band geeks, the greatest people you will ever meet, and the worst. Beware of the plastics.
For sure, everyone's just kind of divided by...
It goes by generation.
Yeah.
I think every generation has their own...
the way they deal with it.
Stereotypes.
Yeah.
Their own kind of cliques.
You know, they're true for a reason, because maybe it's a minority of the whole picture, but it's still a part. And what people do is they blow it out of proportion and make it look like it's something big. You know?
Well, we really
Because why would stereotypes be made if they're not true? They're true in a small way, and it's blown out of proportion. Everything's blown out of proportion.
I think first of all we're all equal in the sight of God. I have a personal interest in this because I have a nephew who's disabled. And he's an absolute genius when it comes to computers. He leaves me for dead. So he's an extremely intelligent guy, and he's a wonderful person. And I think the very nature of prejudice is that it tends to just reduce you to one small part of who you are. And I know I've said this about 1 million times already, but we are whole or holy people made in God's image and likeness. That's the very centre of Christian teaching. And what we do when we stereotype people is it's about reductionism. We're reducing them to some small part of who they are. You're not a person, you're your disability, and you're not. You're a whole person, you're a holy person, you're precious, and you're unique. And therefore you deserve to be treated like everybody else.
I am your world, your winning world. Be all for one, then let's be one for all. We are the stars and we can be the sun. You are the joy of life and fun. Let's feel our hearts get in and run. In our world, are we?
Είμαι εδώ γιατί είσαι εσύ. Η ζωή συνήκει και το φως μαζί.
I am in this winning world. Hold my hand and make me live for what I love. I am your world, your winning world. Be all for one and let's be one for all. We are the stars and we can be the sun. You are the joy of life and fun. Let's feel our hearts get in and run. In our world, are we winning? Somos
Filming and creating this video project has really opened my eyes about discrimination and the effect it can have on people. Conducting interviews with people who have experienced discrimination because of race, age, social status, or gender has made me realize that stereotyping is not only harmful to people's feelings, but it also reduces a person to one thing that a select few members of their group may or may not have been associated with at one point in history. Hearing the opinions of my classmates has made me realize that my generation has many intelligent things to say about stereotyping and discrimination. I believe that hatred comes from the fact that some people are so closed-minded in today's society. Every day we become closer and closer to eradicating intolerance, with the legalization of homosexual marriage in certain states, for example. However, some people seem set in their ways. The things they have been taught while they were young and impressionable, growing up in a very different world. I hope that my generation will be the one to finally do something about the hatred people are exposed to daily. I think that judgment is not only harmful to others, but it can lead to insecurity within ourselves also.
Okay, so I think this video project really was an eye-opening experience for all of us because we got to see hate in all of its forms and the long-term effects it can have on people, and how even if you alter what you say to someone just by a little bit, or see them as Jesus would or as God would, you could change someone so dramatically.
When we think about hating on someone or when we think bad about someone, we should really take a moment and think about what we're doing, because all of us are imperfect. Every single person on the face of the planet has a flaw. And for someone to criticize someone else's flaw and project that flaw and make it seem like it's such a big deal is very hypocritical, because we all have something about us that we don't like or we're not comfortable with, and we shouldn't project our own insecurities on someone else.
If we look at our core as humans, we will realize that in the end, gender, sexuality, skin color, none of it really matters. It depends on what's inside that person and what that person stands for as a human being. And if we learn that, we'll be able to respect each person as an individual, as like an entity, as someone that is making an impact in our lives, as someone that, like a ripple effect.
At the end of the day, when we think about it, we're all created by God, and although we might have something different about ourselves that maybe someone doesn't, and maybe we have lighter skin, or we're smarter, or anything, we're still all created by God, and we should all treat each other the way that God wants us to treat each other. We're still all humans, and that's not going to change regardless of what we may or may not have.